Buckle up, everyone. You are strapped in and ready for the Insurance Hour with me, your host, Karl Susman, informing, educating, and entertaining one policy at a time. This is Insurance Hour. Hello. This is Insurance Hour. I am your host, Karl Susman. Thank you so much for being here today. Phone lines are open for your insurance-related questions. Give us a call, 559-656-0317. You can call or text that line. You can also send us a question to questions@insurancehour.com or jump on the website, insurancehour.com/ask. Put your question there and we'll get right back to you. Having said that, speaking of voicemails and call-ins, if you do call in and we don't answer, just means we're either not live or there's no one at the phone at that moment, but do leave your message and we will go through and play it on the air and answer your question. To that extent, I am going to go through voicemails today. We've been going through emails before. We'll go through voicemails for the majority of the show today, or depending on call-ins. So let's just jump right in. The first one is from, let's see, it looks like Alex, and it is, let's just play the question right now.
Good morning. This is Carlos from San Bernardino. I've heard about the California Fair Plan, but I'm a bit confused about how it works. My home is in a high-risk area, and finding homeowners insurance has been a nightmare. Is the Fair Plan a good option for someone in my situation?
Okay, Carlos, thanks for the call in, and I'm impressed that you know what the Fair Plan is, but I guess you're in a high fire risk area, so you've probably heard about it from friends and neighbors. The answer is a little more complicated than is it a good place to be. Depending on the characteristics of your house and exactly where it is, the California Fair Plan might be the best option for you to obtain fire insurance. There are some other carriers that will write, depending on where the house is actually located, in areas that the California Fair Plan is designed to write in, higher fire risk areas. But what I would suggest you do is check around, see if there are any carriers that are willing to write an entire homeowner's policy for you. If not, you can go back to the California Fair Plan, go through a broker. There's no fee for doing that, but they obviously know what they're doing better than the average consumer, and let them get the fire insurance, and then you can turn around and get what's called a DIC policy, which is going to provide you with the rest of the coverage that you're looking for, right? That's the liability, the water damage, theft, things like that. So, Carlos, hopefully that answers your question. And we are going to jump into the next voicemail. And this one is from, let's see, this is labeled just voicemail 1. So let's have a listen.
Hey there, this is Jake from sunny San Diego. I just bought my dream house near the beach and I couldn't be happier. But with all the news about rising sea levels and floods, I'm a bit nervous. Does my standard homeowner's insurance cover flood damage, or should I be looking into a separate flood insurance policy?
Great question. Flood insurance is something that is not an OT covered under your homeowner's insurance policy, meaning that any type of rising water or anything under the definition of flood damage is not going to be covered under your homeowner's policy. It's going to need to be covered under a separate flood insurance, shockingly called flood insurance policy. Now, you can obtain this through the National Flood Insurance Program, which is through FEMA. You can get this through any independent agent or broker. And there are also private companies that offer flood insurance coverage, which is pretty cool. So you do have the ability to get flood insurance through either the FEMA version or through the private market. Keep in mind that there is no such thing as one is more expensive or one is cheaper than the other. It really does just depend on the particular circumstances of the area that your home is located in. So don't get too caught up if you hear people saying, oh, that program is always more expensive or that program is always cheaper. Always check with the independent market, the open market, see what options are available. And then you can also go and check with FEMA and see what you can come up with as well. Thank you so much for your call. Let's go to the next voicemail. This one is marked as voicemail 91. So let's have a listen.
Hi, my name is Colton, and I'm from Manteca, and I invested in some cryptocurrency. Are there any insurance policies that protect digital assets like that?
Oh, wow. It's a great question. Most homeowners insurance policies have specific limitations for all forms of currency. Now, I have not specifically seen something with crypto yet. My general guideline would be that it is not going to be something you would have coverage under. Now, I'm going under the assumption that you're talking about, you're saying coverage for, so if someone were to steal it, for example, and that sounds like that would more than likely be covered under a cyber protection policy. Perhaps those policies are a little more complicated to come by right now because the industry is trying to figure out exactly how that works, what the exposure is, how to charge for it. Do they mandate people do certain things to try and prevent themselves from being victim to losses and things like that? So I would say for the most part right now, no, cryptocurrency loss is not going to be something that you're going to find coverage for under your homeowner's insurance policy. But I would do a little bit of checking around, shopping around, see if you can find perhaps a cyber policy that might be able to offer you coverage for that. All right, let's get to our next call. This one, voicemail is labeled Noah. So let us see what we have from Noah.
Hey there, this is Noah from Chula Vista. I'm self-employed and been considering disability insurance, but I'm not sure how it works. If I get injured and can't work, how much of my income would it replace? Any clarity would be awesome.
Okay, disability insurance. Disability insurance is a good one to have, definitely. This is going to pay in the event you are unable to work, you're disabled. Now, policies vary dramatically. They vary in how much they pay. They vary in under what circumstances they're going to pay. Some policies will pay a lump sum depending on what it is that happens to you, things of that nature. So the first thing is, let me answer your first question, is it a good thing to have? Yes, it's a very good thing to have. Now, obtaining disability insurance is a little bit more complicated than most of us would like because the insurance carrier has to not only get information about you and your health, but they have to verify information about you and your finances as well. For example, if you're making $50,000 a year, you wouldn't be able to buy a disability insurance policy that would pay, for example, $100,000 a year, right? That doesn't make sense. That would create a lot of potential fraud. So when you're looking to get disability insurance, understand that you're going to be looking at a relatively complex underwriting process, meaning that there's a lot of work to get done before you get the policy. My recommendation would be to find an independent agent or broker that offers or specializes in disability insurance. Talk to them, see how many companies they work with, let them know what you do for a living, and have them do all of the heavy lifting. And with that, we'll take our first break. This is Insurance Hour. I'm your host, Karl Susman, and we will be right back. Let's talk about earthquakes for a minute. Look, we know we live in earthquake country here in California. Powerful, devastating earthquakes have happened here before, and science says that they will happen again. They can't tell us exactly when. They can just tell us that it is going to happen. Count on it. Prepare for it. Did you know that earthquakes are not covered by your homeowner's insurance policy? You need a separate policy to give you the peace of mind that you will be able to recover without getting financially wiped out the next time we get hit with a big one. There is a great company here in California that will provide you with earthquake coverage you need at a price you can afford. That company is GeoVera. I have a policy through GeoVera. I really like how easy it is to choose from all of their great coverage options, backed by the financial strength that lets me know that they will be here for me when I need them the most. Go to getquake.com/insurance hour to learn more. That's getquake.com/insurance hour. Make sure you're ready for the day when the ground shakes again. Hello. This is Insurance Hour. I am your host, Karl Susman. Thank you so much for being here today. Phone lines are open, 559-656-0317. Call or text that number. Anytime you don't get a person, leave a voicemail. We will get back to you. Also, you can send us your questions to questions@insurancehour.com. Before I move forward, I want to just add a little something to that last ad about earthquake insurance. Understand that depending on where you are tuning in from, if you're anywhere where there could be earthquakes, especially like California, you should be thinking long and hard about getting earthquake insurance. It's one of those things. We do have earthquakes. So I personally purchased my earthquake insurance through GeoVera. You can imagine I can get it wherever I want. Every carrier wants me to have it with them. I choose GeoVera. So I think they're a strong company. I think their offerings are very competitive. And that has been my choice. And we thank them for their support of Insurance Hour. Moving on, let's get on to some more voicemails. This one we have is labeled voicemail 11. And no, I'm just picking these at random. Let's see what we've got here.
Hi, this is Marcus from Bakersfield. I got a question about earthquake insurance. Given that we live in California, do you think it's essential to have it? My wife thinks it's overkill, but I'm not sure. What's your take on it?
Wow, that couldn't have been a better voicemail for me to randomly pick after I mentioned GeoVera. I do personally think that earthquake insurance is important to have. And I would not hesitate to check around and get quotes, get different options. I don't think it's overkill. Again, you said you live in California, and we do have earthquakes here. It's not really a matter of, is there going to be one? It's just a matter of, is the next one going to be large enough to cause damage that is significant to have your home really damaged and need to be repaired or not? We do have earthquakes. There's no question. So I would strongly suggest that you do look into earthquake insurance and you do look into the different options that are available. And I might as well go to our sponsor, GeoVera. You can find a link right on our website at insurancehour.com. You'll see a link to GeoVera right there, and you can get a quote for your earthquake insurance. Let's jump on to the next voicemail that we have. Let's see. This one looks like it is labeled voicemail 154. Wow. Let us see what we have on voicemail 154.
Hi, I'm Max from Moore Park. I've heard about usage-based auto insurance that uses a device to track driving habits. Is this a good way to save on premiums, or are there privacy concerns?
It's a great question. Depending on where you're getting this program, that type of device that will track your driving habits, is what they call it, may or may not be permitted. Some states, because of privacy issues, are not actually permitting that type of devices to be used. So here's my take. I think as long as people are clear on what information they're giving, they're clear that they're providing information about their driving history, and it's being captured and turned over to the insurance company in whatever form or fashion, then I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with people having that information captured and given to anybody without their permission. So if you're in an area that does permit this type of underwriting and this type of policy, depending on your driving habits, then sure, if you're comfortable with it, go for it. If you can save some money and get good coverage, then why not? But be sure that you're finding out exactly what type of information, what type of data is actually being collected. So you're not in a situation where all of a sudden you thought, well, they're just checking on my mileage. But it turns out that they're collecting a lot more data. They're collecting data on how fast do you accelerate, how hard do you brake, how often do you cut the wheel more than 30 degrees or things of that nature. Remember, cars are pretty sophisticated these days, and the type of information that they can and do record, it's pretty detailed. So decide what it's worth it to you, or whether it's worth it to you or not. But most importantly, find out what the information is that they're going to be collecting and how they're going to go about collecting it. Thank you for that call. Let us get on to our next voicemail. This is labeled voicemail 53. And let's hear it.
Hi, my name is Joshua from El Monte. I have a side gig as a rideshare driver. Does my personal auto insurance cover me while I'm working, or do I need commercial coverage?
This is a great question. Ride sharing is a complicated one, and talk about the industry has to adapt and change with the times. Now let's talk about the average person that's driving rideshare. Let's just call it Uber, because it's Uber or Lyft, but I'm just used to calling it Uber. So you get in the car and you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to go and be an Uber driver now. And you start driving. The question is, are you now you haven't picked anybody up, you haven't gotten a ride request, nothing has happened, but technically you are working as an Uber driver because that's your intent and you are out waiting for a fare. Now let's say the app alerts you and says, here's a fare, and then you decide to accept it, and now you are driving to pick up that fare, that person. Well, that's a different exposure because now you are clearly working because you're on your way to pick up the ride, but you haven't picked them up yet. Then you have the period of time once you've picked up the ride and taken them to their destination. That's a different exposure that you have right there, right? Because now you have a third party in the vehicle with you. You don't know them. You don't know anything about them. You don't know what's going on. And now there's a fourth portion, which is now that you've dropped hopefully you don't drop the driver off. You drop off the customer and you're driving away and you have to make that decision. Are you going to continue looking for fares? Do you have the app running or have you shut it down? So the reason I break this all down for you is because these are all different types of exposure that you have as a driver. The insurance carriers have to understand and figure out a way to manage each individual risk profile because all of those, as you can imagine, create different exposures, right? There's obviously more exposure if there's somebody in the vehicle with you than if there's not, right? I mean, we don't know who they are. They could go crazy. They could try and hurt you. They could do all sorts of things. They could jump out of the car, damage the vehicle. Who knows? It could be when they're getting out of the car. They're angry because of the way you drove, or they, kick your car. Who knows, right? So what my advice is with rideshare is talk to your individual insurance carrier, talk to your agent or broker, and find out if there is an endorsement, which is an option that you can add to your policy that will give you coverage for the parts of that rideshare process that it has available. Now, most rideshare companies like Uber and Lyft, I believe, I'm not 100% sure, I have not looked at their contracts, will give you some level of liability exposure for certain periods of time in that entire timeline that I described for you. So the key is to be sure you have coverage for each segment of those times. And the only way to find out for sure is to ask. Time for another quick break. When we are back, more of your voicemails. Insurance Hour. Be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in just a few moments, the Window to the Magic podcast show will begin.
My name is Patrick.
My name is Calvin.
I'm Mouseketeer Gray.
My name is Paul, and I will be your guide through the wonderful world of Disney sound experiences.
This show is a weekly trip into the world of the Disney theme parks and resorts.
And this is the place where you get to use your ears to surround yourself with the magic.
For your safety, please remain seated while listening to the windowtothemagic.com podcast.
Maybe there's a name for this, something like Disnotic obsession. Please visit windowtothemagic.com for more information, or you can find us on Apple Podcasts and in the iHeartMedia app.
Hello. This is Insurance Hour. I am your host, Karl Susman. Thank you so much for being here with me today and learning about your favorite topic and mine, insurance. Phone lines are open for your calls, 559-656-0317. Call or text that number. You could also send us an email at questions@insurancehour.com, or if you like yet another way, you can just jump on our website, insurancehour.com/ask. Put your question in there. It's private, and we will get back to you right as soon as we are able. As twisted as that sounds. All right, we are going through voicemails that you have left today, and the next one we're going to go through is for Ethan. So let's hear what Ethan has to say.
Good afternoon. This is Ethan calling from Glendale. I'm planning to rent out my spare room through a short-term rental site. Do I need additional insurance for that, or does my standard homeowner's policy have me covered? Don't want any unexpected issues with guests.
That's a great question, Ethan. When it comes to things like renting out a room, let's take a step back. Your homeowner's insurance policy, you have it and I have it, right? I just live at home. It's just me. On the other hand, you have that same policy and you have someone that you're renting a room to. You can see how that would be a different type of an exposure, right? The person that's renting your room could do anything. I hate to keep sounding like I'm, afraid of people, but we're talking about insurance. We're talking about exposure. So understand that when you have someone in your house, there's more exposure than if you don't have someone in your house, right? Simple as that. So homeowners insurance policies are not natively designed to cover the exposure of renting a room. Now, some insurance companies have add-ons to the policy that are called endorsements, which will give you protection that will basically take the coverage you have and extend it to the exposure you have of renting out a room in your house. Some companies offer it, some companies don't. That's the first place you want to start. Check with your existing homeowner's policy and see if they do have coverage that's available for you. If not, then you can also turn around and check and see if there is an individual policy that you can purchase that will cover you for that. There are policies that are out there that will specifically cover that exposure, but the best place to start is always with your existing policy so that you can find out if it's something that you can easily just, like I said, either add on or pick up and be able to go from there. Thank you so much for that message. Let's get to the next one. This one shows, looks like Jason, and let's hear Jason's message.
Hello. I'm reviewing my auto insurance policy, and I'm considering raising my deductible to lower my premiums. Can you explain the pros and cons of higher versus lower deductibles? How do I decide what's the right balance for my financial situation? I appreciate your advice. Yeah, I've recently learned that damage to my underground utility lines on my property isn't covered by my standard homeowner's insurance. Is there an endorsement or a separate policy that covers repairs to things like water, sewer, and electrical lines between my house and the street?
Okay, snuck in 2 questions there. All right, let's see if we can cover them both. As far as deductibles go, just to review, a deductible is the amount that of exposure for your vehicle's damage that you're retaining. So if you have a $1,000 deductible and you're involved in an accident, the first $1,000 of damage you would be responsible for out of pocket before the insurance company would kick in. So what the caller is asking is how high of a deductible is it worth going? And as you can imagine, the higher the deductible, the lower your premium, right? If you're taking on more exposure, that's taking exposure away from the insurance company, so your premium will be lower and reflect that. Now, he actually said it right. What is his tolerance level? And I don't have the ability to answer that question. I don't know what makes financial sense for you because everyone is different. What you might be able to bankroll in the event of a loss might not be what somebody else can. So my recommendation is to carry a deductible that is not going to be low enough. Let me try that again. Carry a deductible that you would actually utilize. So if you're going to not put a claim in for $500 or $600, then don't carry a deductible of $500. If you wouldn't put a claim in for $800 or $900, then look at a $1,000 deductible or higher. Now, why would you not want to put a claim in? Obviously, you might have discounts you would lose, no claims discounts, things of that nature. So there are reasons why you might not want to file a claim depending on the circumstances surrounding it. So my advice is to pick a deductible that is within range of when you would use the insurance. It might be that you wouldn't put a claim in for a couple $1,000s. And if that's the case, then pick a higher deductible that will actually meet that number and save money on premium at the same time. What was your second question? Talking about water damage. Yeah, some insurance policies will give coverage. You can obtain it. You just have to ask and find a carrier that offers it. They don't all, but most of them will, for water damage and or sewer line backup. It gets a little bit messy. Oh, did I just say that? I'm sorry. It gets a little complicated sometimes with sewer line coverage because it's a matter of, well, how do we know where the backup happened? Did it happen on your property or is it off your property line where the city is responsible? Because now the insurance company is saying, hey, if there is a blockage in the sewer line and it's not on your property, it's not your problem, therefore it's not our problem. And you can imagine how much fun it would be to try and deal with the city in the event that there's some type of a drainage issue or a stop up in the pipes. Good luck getting a hold of somebody and having them send someone out to take care of that for you in a timely manner or even reimbursing you for it. Don't count on it. Next voicemail 15 we're going to go with. I feel like I'm playing bingo, like I'm turning one of those old little baskets of numbers and they're just floating around there and I'm just grabbing numbers at random. So now we're going to listen to voicemail 15 and let's hear what they have to say.
Hi, I'm Daniel from Irvine. I recently bought an electric car. I'm loving it so far. I'm curious, though. Does insuring an electric vehicle differ from a regular car? I mean, are there specific things I should be aware of to make sure I'm properly covered?
It's a great question. Funny thing with electric cars, people either love them or hate them. There doesn't seem to be any in between anywhere. To answer your question, there's nothing specific you need to be aware of when you're looking to insure your electric car, other than checking for discounts that might be available. Some carriers will give discounts for electric cars, period. That might be a good place to start, but there's not a particular electric car coverage form that you should be aware of. Some companies might, like I said, offer better pricing on them. Some might not. But in general, I would say just do what you would normally do and assume that your insurance agent or broker that you're getting your proposal from is going to know what they're doing and find the appropriate coverage for you. Hopefully that's not asking too much. And hopefully it's not asking too much for me to ask you to stand by, because we are going to take another break. And when we're back, we will get right back to your voicemail messages. This is Insurance Hour with me, your host, Karl Susman. We will take a quick break and be back before you know it.
Have you been dropped by your insurance agency or seen your premiums skyrocket? Susman Insurance is here to help. We're a family-owned and operated insurance agency that's been serving our community for 2 generations. At Susman Insurance, we know how stressful it can be to find the right coverage, especially when prices go up or you're left without insurance. That's why we're committed to finding you competitive rates, whether it's for fire, home, earthquake, flood, auto insurance, you name it. We've got you covered. Give us a call or send a text to 310-820-5200 or visit us online at sussmaninsurance.com. Plus, stay updated on all things insurance by joining our text group. Just text 567-4CARL with a K. That's 567-367-5275 to get the latest updates straight to your phone. Susman Insurance, your family's insurance solution.
Hello. This is Insurance Hour. I'm your host, Karl Susman. Thank you so much for being here with me today. We are, believe it or not, halfway through the show. If you've missed anything that we've gone over so far, man, you better go back and find it. Jump online, search for Insurance Hour. You'll find us as a podcast. You'll find us on YouTube. You'll find us on iHeartMedia, Amazon Alexa, TuneIn, Spotify, pretty much everywhere. And look for this show and be sure to listen to it from the beginning. We are listening to the voicemails that you have all left for me, and we're going to get right back into that. But to reach us, remember, it's as simple as calling 559-656-0317. Also, you can send an email via questions@insurancehour.com, and I will try and get back to you on that as quick as I can. All right, voicemail time. Let's see, which voicemail should we do next? I should probably have organized these a little bit better so that I can just whip right through them, so you'll bear with me. I have not actually done a show where we've done nothing but voicemails, but I think I'm about there. How about 21? Let's jump in and listen to voicemail 21 and see what this caller has to say.
Hey, it's William from Fontana. I'm a freelance photographer, and I often travel for work for expensive equipment. Does my homeowner's insurance cover my gear when I'm on the road, or do I need a separate policy? Would love some advice.
It's a great question. Actually, I just had somebody post a question about this on YouTube. They had a claim when they were flying from Los Angeles to, I want to say Phoenix, I think so. And they had a lot of their camera equipment stolen. Now, understand that homeowners insurance, condominium owners insurance, the regular standard property policies have limitations for certain types of personal property, like computers, electronics, fine arts, computers already, jewelry, watches, furs, camera equipment, cash, you name it. There's limitations because there's no way to know how much you're going to have. So how do you price it when I might not carry a camera and you might have $50,000 in camera equipment, right? Can't do that. So a lot of these higher end items, there are going to be sub-limits on them unless you increase them. So the first thing you want to do is try and find out if your existing insurance policy can increase the limit for that equipment. That's the first thing. If not, then you should check and see about getting a separate policy that will cover that equipment all by itself. They're out there. They don't tend to be too expensive. Just make sure you ask. Don't assume. Don't assume that you have coverage. If you're wondering, chances are you're probably right. There's probably something that you're missing, and you want to find out how to get that coverage. So make sure you take the time to do that. All right, next one. I'm just going to grab voicemail 23. Let's hear what we've got here.
Hello, this is James from Huntington Beach. I've been considering pet insurance for my 2 cats, but one has a pre-existing condition. Will that be covered, or am I just out of luck? Any recommendations would be appreciated.
Okay, well, I have to first just smile. Cats. You know, there's cat people and dog people, and I'll tell you why that is. And then you tell me if you're a cat or a dog person. If you're a dog person, you hear people say things like this about a cat. Oh, my cat's awesome. It's so friendly, and it wants to cuddle, and it wants your attention. It's as good as a dog. If you're a cat person, I've never heard a cat person say, oh, my cat is so, I'm sorry, if you're a dog person, backwards. I've never heard a dog person say, oh, my dog is so good, it's as good as a cat. Ever. Nobody says that. Cats are just a different animal, no pun intended. They literally are. I am a dog person through and through, if you can't tell. I've got some close friends now that have started getting into cats, and I don't know, I'm having a hard time bonding with a cat, and I understand that they're different. They don't have the same personality as a dog, but there's advantages, right? I mean, you can drop them from straight in front of you, and they land on their feet. You do that to a dog, you're going to hear a loud scream and crunch when your dog hits the ground. So I get it, but I can definitely see how there are differences between cat people and dog people. Sorry about the tangent. So, pet insurance. Pet insurance is one of those things, you said pre-existing condition. I'm not aware of any pet insurance policy that will ask for the health of the pet to see what conditions they have. Most pet insurance policies are simply priced based on the breed of the animal and the age. So that's, I guess, good news for you. Even though your cat has a pre-existing condition, that should not preclude you from being able to get a policy. I'm not a huge fan of pet insurance because what I find is it's one of those things that you really are only going to have it make financial sense if something really bad happens. Otherwise, you're going to end up spending more than you're getting back. And I hate purchasing something going under the assumption that, well, this is only going to be good if something bad happens. It feels a little bit strange to me. But check around. There are some good companies out there that do offer coverage. Compare prices. There is no standardized policy form for pet insurance. So definitely take your time and go through the process and see what it is that you might be able to get. And if it makes sense, cost-wise. All right. Next one I'm going to jump at is voicemail 31. I hope I didn't pull 31 yet. Well, we'll find out.
Hi, my name is Jacob, and I'm calling from Ontario. My parents are getting older, and I'm helping them with their affairs. Should they consider long-term care insurance, and what factors should we look at to decide if it's worth it?
Wow, long-term care insurance is a tough one. The answer is simple. If you can get a good long-term care insurance policy and afford it, it's a great product to have. Now, I'll tell you why that is. Now, long-term care, for those of you that don't know, is going to pay for the costs for you to have someone take care of you in the event you can't take care of yourself. Now, this is the problem that insurance companies have with long-term care, which is why consumers like it. Everybody who purchases a policy, almost everybody, ends up using the policy. So imagine a policy that has a 98% claim usage, right? That means only 2% of people don't have a claim. Imagine an auto policy where 98% of the people have a car accident. Can you imagine how unprofitable that would be? Well, long-term care insurance tends to fall in that same predicament where it is heavily utilized. So it's difficult for the insurance carriers to price it. People tend to buy it and keep it and keep it and keep it until they use it. So if you can find a policy that is affordable and will give you the limits of coverage that you're looking to have, length of time, amount of coverage, in-home care versus only care in a facility, there are all sorts of other types of details that different policies can offer then by all means, it can be a financial win for you, because there's nothing worse than being in a situation where somebody works hard, they save all their life, only to be end up older and having to spend all of their savings to have someone help and take care of them. On that somber note, let's take another break. Insurance Hour. I am Karl Susman, your host. We will be back in 60 seconds. Don't go away.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in just a few moments, the Window to the Magic podcast show will begin.
My name is Patrick.
My name is Calvin.
I'm Mouseketeer Gray.
My name is Paul, and I will be your guide through the wonderful world of Disney sound experiences.
This show is a weekly trip into the world of the Disney theme parks and resorts.
And this is the place where you get to use your ears to surround yourself with the magic.
For your safety, please remain seated while listening to the windowtothemagic.com podcast.
Maybe there's a name for this, something like Disnotic obsession. Please visit windowtothemagic.com for more information, or you can find us on Apple Podcasts and in the iHeartMedia app.
Hello. This is Insurance Hour. I'm your host, Karl Susman. Thank you so much for being here with me today and learning about insurance, your favorite topic of all time. Phone lines are open, 559-656-0317. Call or text that number. Send us your questions by email to questions@insurancehour.com, or just go to insurancehour.com/questions and go ahead and leave your question there. I'm sorry, it's insurancehour.com/ I'm just going to blow this all up. Let's try it again. The website is still insurancehour.com/ask. It's questions for email, and it's insurancehour.com/ask to put your questions there. Whew. I definitely need to take a break and have some coffee during the next break. We are taking your questions live if you call in. If you've left a voicemail, as many people have, I will be replaying them on the air and answering your questions. Let's get to the next one. This is voicemail 33, and let's hear what we have.
Hi, this is Michael from Lancaster. I just bought a motorcycle, my midlife crisis purchase. Does the motorcycle insurance work the same as auto insurance, or are there any other special things I should know about?
All right, that's a great question. Remember I said earlier, I'm not sure if it was in this segment or the last one, I said, if you're not sure if something is covered, chances are you're onto something, and it probably is not. So this person is asking if their motorcycle is covered under their automobile insurance, and the answer is no. Motorcycles are covered under, wait for it, motorcycle policies. So, and I think he knows that. And I think intuitively we know a lot of times that things are covered on a separate policy or things are not covered at all, but we don't ask until it's too late. So let me give you a little public service announcement, okay? If you have some type of an insurance policy, and you're not sure if something is covered or not, or you're not sure what the situation is, if you're going to be expecting X dollars, or if there's